Hi everyone, this is Strong. Welcome guys to a new episode of Strongpod. Today we have a very special guest. They are a JAMBASSADOR. They've been well known for over 10 years now. They are an awesome jammer, great friend. They are Mr. Breezy.
Thank you for having me, Strong. I'm happy to be here on the Strongpod.
Alrighty, Breezy. So before we get started, let's tell everyone a little about you. You know, where you start from and where you are now. Maybe how you started making content, and what's like your favorite thing that you love to do, that you're doing for so long now.
Yeah, of course. So I've been playing Animal Jam for almost 15 years. It was pretty popular in my elementary school, so I just joined from there. And then I started making content almost 10 years ago in March of 2016. And that was actually from a dare that I had with a friend of mine on who could gain the most subscribers on YouTube in a week. And the dare ended up turning into a full thing that I kind of just kept on going through with for the past almost 10 years. And my favorite thing to do is definitely interacting with the community. I enjoy talking to people in the community. I enjoy hosting things like live streams and events and contests, and I just enjoy interacting with everyone in the Animal Jam community.
My next question for you is that I know you started a group called Breezy Ambassadors. They're very successful. You guys left a legacy, and I was wondering, how did you start that group up, and what are some tips and stuff you would give to those who would like to create a long-lasting, very strong, impactful group, AJ community group, that you had, and maybe still have?
Yeah, so the Breezy Ambassadors began as sort of just a group of my close moderators who would always join my streams and always help me out with the chat and things like that. And then it turned into a content creator group about 2 or so years after I initially started it. And my whole intention with it was to bring together content creators in the community and also provide them with a place to collaborate and get to know each other as well. That way, content in the entire community can grow as a whole and as a group.
And my next question for you is, it's about the Breezy Ambassadors. I know you guys dismantled this year, and the explanation wasn't very detailed, right? It was very mild from what I heard and from what I saw too. It was like, we're no longer doing it or whatever it was. And I know the community and myself wanted to know a bigger explanation on what actually happened or why it got dismantled. If you can elaborate on that, we would really appreciate it.
Of course. So as for the Breezy Ambassador team, there was no specific issue, no specific thing behind the scenes that ended the team. I just found within myself that as I progress through college and as I am going to graduate college soon, that I do not have as much time as I did, say, a couple years ago. And it wouldn't be fair to the Breezy Ambassador team as a whole if I didn't give them my full attention, or at least the same amount of attention that I was giving it previously. So I just decided to make the executive decision to cut things off in the moment. That way I'll be able to focus on things in real life, focus on content, and also focus on other things as well. So nothing happened. It wasn't anything specific. Everything is good, and just like that.
Breezy, my next question for you is that I know you've been doing this for over a decade now, which is a long time. Congratulations to you. But you got your title as a JAMBASSADOR later on in that journey. And I think that's really important, not just important, special, because it shows to to the people, the fans, the community, and such, that, sometimes things that you want take time, right? And you waited and you didn't give up. And I think that's important, And maybe I'm not sure if you wanted the role earlier, but I do know is that you got the role later on, So I'm wondering what's your thought on that?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. So when I became a Jambassador in 2023, that was actually my third time applying for the role. And honestly, I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. And I'm also a firm believer in slow motion is better than no motion. So while that was my third time applying, and of course, it is disappointing when you don't receive something that you believe you worked for, something that you really wanted. Of course, when it happens later on, it just makes it all the better. So honestly, like I said, everything happens for a reason, and slow motion is better than no motion. And I'm happy to be here right now. So it's all cool.
Now that, you are an ambassador and stuff, I know that you are very close with the original Jambassadors. You guys go out sometimes. I'm pretty sure you guys talk or whatever it may be. And I was wondering how you guys got connected initially and became friends. And I think it's just so cool that you guys all are like friends and hang out and are together. I think that's so cool and like important as communities, like leaders. A lot of people look up to you guys, so that's just so cool.
Yeah, so my closest friends in the community are Wisteria Moon, Cheerios, Typical Rocky, and Afternoon. And we all kind of just met kind of from just knowing the same people and also just showing up to each other's streams. Like I met Typical Rocky from her showing up on my stream. I met Cheerios through him interacting with some of my moderators and then also coming to one of my streams as well. And then I met Wisteria Moon and Afternoon pretty much on Discord. So it's all kind of just knowing the same people, and you pretty much get to know others if you run in the same circles. So, but yeah, we always hang out. We always sometimes fly places. Like, it's great. I'm glad that friendships that you make on Animal Jam can become in real life friendships as well. It's pretty good.
When you started creating content, was there ever anyone that inspired you or showed you, or maybe showed you the ropes of doing things, or inspired you to create content, or the way that you did it? Because especially because you did it for a while now, I'm just wondering. For me, I'm new to this. I joined 2 years ago, so for content creation. But yeah, definitely, you have showed me too, different things, especially, you do lives and stuff like that, which I do want to try in the future. But yeah, maybe someone who inspired you or showed you something, how to do it. Or was it just you,
Yeah, so my biggest inspirations when I first started my channel were definitely the VidCon Jambassadors. So all of the 2016 through 2018 Jambassadors definitely made their mark on my content in certain specific ways. And of course, you learn things as you go. Honestly, there are specific things that I knew in 2021 that I didn't know in 2016, and certain things that I knew in 2024 that I didn't know in 2022. Like, you kind of just learn as you go. And honestly, you're never too late to learn anything. You can just learn as you continue and truly just learn from those around you, honestly.
Okay, so now that we're talking about, content and ambassadors, what is your favorite thing about being a ambassador? And do you ever get tired, or sometimes you don't want to be always seen when you're in JAMA? Like, I know, or maybe, you don't care, you love that, right? But I'm just wondering, because sometimes it can get overwhelming, especially, you know, everyone knows you, and they go after you, they yell your name, you know, they try to trade you or whatever it may be, gift you. Does it get tired at times, or you just go with the flow?
My favorite part of being a Jambassador is definitely hosting the monthly events. I haven't really had the time to host a few of them as of late, but I'm definitely going to get back to hosting them as I find myself having more time and stuff like that. Even before I was a Jambassador, the about year or so that they started doing the events before I was a Jambassador, I would always show up to them and I would just like think, wow, I really hope that I'll be able to host one of these in the future. So now it's great that I actually am able to host whenever I can, and it's always a fun event. And as for interacting in Jama, I never have a problem with it. I'm always cool with people asking for photos, people saying, oh my gosh, Breezy, I know you, because honestly, that was me at a point in time too. And it's just like so surreal. It's like a crazy full circle moment that there are people who know me in the game for my content, for just silly little Animal Jam videos that I've made starting when I was a kid that I still make to this day. So honestly, I have no issues with anyone coming up to me in Jama asking for a photo, anything like that. Honestly, it's crazy, it's surreal, it's great.
Now that you've been around the community for so long, right? For over 10 years, and you've seen the changes, you know, especially because, you know, you've been there for Classic and for Play Wild, so you've seen both sides, you know, you've seen the changes and things for both sides, which is really big, and you know, it's crazy. Because for example, me, I started playing 10 years ago, right? But I didn't make content until 2 years ago. But in my 10 years of playing, for the first 2 were Classic, the rest were AJ, Play Wild. So I've seen Play Wild since, you know, the beta days, and how much it changed from now is crazy. So I'm pretty sure you've seen more, you know what I'm saying? With the jammers joined, the crazy moments of when Animal Jam was so big compared to it now, you know, even though it's still big, just, you know, it's not as much as before. So I'm wondering, the changes that you've seen, not with just the people, but with the AJ's updates or the new things, the new features and such as that, do you like the changes that have been made? Or maybe do you think certain things shouldn't have been changed? And if there's something that you would like to add, what would that be? And lastly, for this topic, what change have you seen within the community throughout the years? And have you liked it?
Of course, change is inevitable in a community that has been around as long as Animal Jam. And for as long as I've been in the community, I've seen so many different changes, both in-game and in the community. And honestly, I would say that my most favorite change to see in the community specifically, or the new content creators who come in and create their own types of content, and then also seeing the evolution of existing content creators as they evolve with the current landscape of the game and the community. And as for in-game, I would say that honestly, I like all of the updates that are coming in, and I'm not just saying that just because I'm a Jambassador. I genuinely do like to see the game evolve. And if there's one thing that I could wish for, is more things on Classic. However, I think we are starting to get some more things on Classic, so no complaints from me. I'm just happy to see the game is still around and still evolving at the current rate that it is.
I know you friends with the original OG Jambassadors, and I know there's been Jambassadors after them and Jambassadors in your wave, And what would you say about the current ambassadors, that joined and, are active and, are alongside you? You guys get along. You guys talk. You guys have, a connection. Anyways, a lot of them are really well connected. They do parties together, collabs. It's really cool. You guys do events now. For example, for 2 years now, you guys been doing the unicorn. Not unicorn. I forgot what you call it, but it's with the dragons and unicorns. It's griffins and jackalopes contesting, which I was part of, which is very fun actually. But it's cool how you guys been lately working together, making cool things, and I support that. I think it's really cool. But yeah, what do you guys' relationship? You guys, as a team, like a family. I think it's cool for us to, see how it is.
One of the most interesting parts about the JAMBASSADOR team is that a lot of us make very separate types of content. You have some people who make videos, some people who do art, some people who do Instagram posts, some people who make blog posts, but we all come together based off our common interest of Animal Jam. And even when we are chatting, when we're talking to AJHQ, all of us have so many different ideas that all combine into such great things whenever we are brainstorming as a group together. So honestly, all of the JAMBASSADORs, no matter the wave, are pretty much close, especially when we are hosting things or when we're talking to each other. It's always a great time to have everyone in the same place, truly. That's one of the things that I most enjoy about being a JAMBASSADOR, is interacting with all of the other JAMBASSADORs and seeing what makes everyone unique, but then also what brings everyone together.
Now a little off, the JAMBASSADOR part, more on you. I'm wondering, in Animal Jam, what has been your favorite thing to do in both sides, classic and play wild? For me, I really loved master blocking and making my houses and such. It was a big joy of mine. Was there any specific things you'd like to do and spend your time in AJ? Play wild or classic? I know there's adventures and stuff in classic. I haven't played in a while, but I know that adventures was a lot of fun. I spent hours on that.
One of my favorite ways to play Animal Jam, especially nowadays, is just doing spontaneous things with friends. Like sometimes we would just hop on a call and we would just run around Chama. Sometimes we would make up matching outfits that were absolutely crazy, stuff that you really wouldn't wear by yourself. Or sometimes we would just randomly join fashion shows and participate. And it's just that spontaneous fun aspect while also talking to your friends and bonding over a mutual thing that everyone enjoys. That is honestly nowadays my favorite way to play Animal Jam, whether that's on classic or just Animal Jam. I enjoy playing it spontaneously with friends. It's honestly great.
So recently in Play Wild, I haven't been too active myself. I don't know if you've been as active. I don't know. But I do know that lately, Play Wild's been changing a lot with new games, the new lands changing with Panthems and different discoveries, with the alpha leaders and such. What are your thoughts on all these new changes in Animal Jam Play Wild? I feel like right now, especially in this time, I feel like ever since 2020 when COVID hit, it's crazy to me. I feel like after that time, AG has made so much changes with the storyline of what happened ever since they stole those all the alpha treasures, at the alpha headquarters. I feel like it did start in 2020 when COVID hit, and it's been crazy ever since. I feel like it's been a fast pace, which is so crazy to me from what I used to be. But I was wondering what your thoughts on all that.
Admittedly, the Animal Jam lore is not necessarily my area of expertise. I'm more or less someone who watches it from the sidelines. I kind of have a general gist of what's going on, but anything specific, I'm not the most sure on everything that's going on. However, the things that are going on with Juno is probably my most favorite part of the lore. I'm not too sure the specifics on it, but everything revolving around Juno, I definitely do take an extra second to just pay attention and follow along with what's going on, because that honestly to me is one of the most interesting parts of the lore. But like I said, it's not necessarily my area of expertise, I'll admit.
As we finish up, I know the fans are wondering this, you know, and the community. Now that you've been doing this for so long, you know, you were literally, you know, this is like you, behind your hand, you can read it. What advice or wisdom can you give to jammers who either want to be an ambassador, who want to be content creator and be successful in many platforms, learn how to, you know, be like this jammer who's looked up upon, you know, and create that good role model to create different community groups and such, you know? Can you give us some advice, you know, for those who are watching? I know they definitely would like to hear that and take some notes.
Yeah, so my advice to anyone who would like to become a Jambassador is to honestly pay attention to how the current Jambassadors interact in the game and their type of content and sort of emulate that. I'm not saying go ahead and outright copy people. However, make sure you're following the rules, make sure your content's appropriate. If you want to be a Jambassador, you have to be making Jambassador level content, if that makes sense. I'm not saying it has to be very professional. It doesn't have to be you have to go out and buy a $200 microphone and a $500 editing software. However, it's the professionalism aspect, it's the quality aspect. Work with what you have and make it to the best of your ability.
Oh wait, I forgot. Thank you, Breezy, so much. And Breezy, if anything else you want to say to the community, you can say that. And we love you. Bye.
Thank you, Strong. Thank you for having me on the Strongpod. Happy to be here. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and happy Jamalidays to anyone and everyone watching this. And make sure to enter yourself into that Sapphire giveaway, because honestly, it sounds great. But yeah, thank you for having me. I'm happy to share little pieces of advice, little pieces of Breezy lore that I could possibly have. And like I said, I'm happy to be here. So thank you for having me.
La 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 la.